So I would like to talk about some more enduring higher perspective things to start. Let me first say a little bit about where I'm coming from. My focus is on people who are newly awakening, especially people who believe in God or have a Christian background and are just now overcoming the black and white dogma of religion. The way I came to this focus is that I was born highly psychically empathic into a family of sociopaths, so that not only did none of my caregivers understand me, they were abusive by nature and even more abusive toward me because of who I was. When as a child I described my profound spiritual experiences to them, they told me I would find what I was looking for in church. So I sought relief in Christianity, which led me to become Jehovah's Witness. And this, however, led to more oppression because I was told that the things I experienced were occult, satanic, or of the devil. So I suffered a long time until I finally embraced my abilities, left the cult, and began to heal from the trauma. And what I see are a lot of people who seek safety in religion, labeling everything outside of those bounds as evil. And the New Age spirituality, though, people go to the opposite extreme and embrace everything as good, when the fact is that some beings really are evil. And so there's not only good, but also evil in the spiritual world, too. So a balanced view of reality is somewhere in between in the navigating of all experiences using discernment. And when I talk, I like to think of those people who are ready to explore that gray area. And when I think about what's going on in the world with so much negativity, the pandemic, for me, it always comes back to the spiritual aspects of why it is happening and what I think we should be doing about it within ourselves. So you can see how when I read your philosophy on your website that there were a lot of points of resonance for me. Which I would say that you have accomplished so much in your activism. I read on your website that you find your success in a philosophy of consciousness in action. And you say the idea that redemption and salvation happen to us and do not manifest as a result of direct spiritual conquest is a form of surrender and abnegation of duty of care. Can you say something about what consciousness in action means to you?
It is what it says on the tin, and it's never going to deviate from that. But it's the distinction between moving into the knowing and moving away from the believing. So that I just pick up on something that you said in part of your gracious preamble, and I was very interested to hear your backstory, incidentally, which makes a great deal of sense to me as to how you evolved to be the animal that you are. But it is not about belief, and I don't respect belief. And I don't respect faith, and I don't respect trust, and I certainly don't respect hope. I find that hope and trust and faith in this sense and belief are part of the same deviancy which have kept us entrapped and entrained. Keep us entrapped and entrained in a false light matrix. And this is because we are not making the distinction inwardly between feeling, believing, trusting, and knowing. And so it is the knowing that is substantive. It is the knowing which brings us to the gate of redemption and absolution. Without the knowing, we will never absolve ourselves from that Saturnian logic that holds us in the thrall of the false light. And I think it's desperately important that we make the distinction. So the churchish mind, historically, the religious mind historically, has been the worst form of weaponization that we've ever been subjected to. And that's because the priest bankers, and all priests are bankers and all bankers are priests, in as much as they represent the interceding principle, the intercessionary or interventionist principle, the thing that stands between us and our divinity, the thing that stands between us and our Christed supernature, the thing that stands between us and fulfillment of our true destiny and birthright as sons and daughters of God. So the moment I, as a religious devotee or adherent, relinquish my servitude to believing in Yeshua or the gospel, to embodying it, becoming the flesh, there is that distinction, is consciousness in action is becoming the flesh. and not imbibing or eating of it, not parasiting off the idolatry of religiosity, but actually embodying and acting and thereby manifesting the living gospel. That is the distinction between consciousness, which of course a tadpole is conscious. A tree is conscious. You can prove that through Kirlian photography. Trees know when an axe is coming to cut it down in a forest, and you can photograph the auric field. The tree goes into trauma and shock, and then the neighboring trees also suffer shock and remorse. But the point is that we need to engage actualization, which is the engagement of the Christed supernature, which is our birthright as sons and daughters of God. There's your consciousness in action, because that's how we wield the sword, the proverbial sword of the archangels in this temporal realm, and fashion and forge the fabric of reality. Into what becomes the question. Into what? I will tell you what. Into patterns of perfection is what. And those patterns of perfection are immanent. They are ineffable. They are the Atman. They are the divine immanent template of creation that has always been waiting to be birthed into the 3D temporal realm. But it is the human actualized humans, the Christed sons and daughters of God, who become the capacitors to bring that template into the manifest realm. That's what this time of prophecy, of tribulation and of revelation is all about.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that.